हेलो। हेलो। हो रहा है नीचे खा रहे। हेलो। माइक टेस्टिंग। वन टू। The West is almost here very fast. Yes, ma'am. मैम एक्चुअली उसकी रेंज ना वहाँ से पास पड़ती है तो वहाँ से चलता है वो पास पड़ती है। यस मैम बट ये वर्क नहीं कर रहा है। जस्ट मैम। जस्ट जस्ट इज
गुलिया से नीचे लेके हाँ हाँ पानी के नीचे
Each one of you, esteemed guests and dear participants, and thank you for joining us today at this exciting workshop titled Beyond the Podium, the Debate Workshop. It is a privilege to have you all here. This workshop is proudly hosted by Dakshta, our debating, quizzing, and literary society in collaboration with IQAC, that is, Internal Quality Assurance Cell. Dakshta fosters critical thinking, effective communication, and intellectual curiosity through debates, quizzes, literary activities, and have organized various workshops aiming to nurture talent and promote diverse perspectives. The IQAC plays a vital role in enhancing the quality of academic and co-curricular activities at our institution, ensuring continuous improvement in teaching, learning, and student development. Their support of initiatives like this workshop helps build a strong foundation for intellectual growth and personal development. Today, this workshop is not just about debating, it's about discovering new perspectives, sharpening critical thinking, and owning the art of constructive discussion. We live in a time when thoughtful conversations and respectful disagreements can bridge gaps and open up new perspectives. We are especially fortunate to have with us today an honored guest, Advocate Akshaja Singh, who brings a wealth of experience and knowledge in advocacy and debating. Advocate Akshaja Singh is a dynamic advocate practicing at the Supreme Court of India. He holds a BA degree from the Army Institute of Law, Mohali, and has gained extensive experience in both litigation and corporate law. Beyond his legal practice, Sir is an active member of the Bar Council of Delhi and served as the convener of his law school's debating society, where he organized events to promote public speaking and critical thinking. His blend of academic excellence, practical experience, and dedication to social justice positions him as a promising figure in the legal field. Before we begin, let me quickly outline the agenda for today's workshop. We will start with an interactive session to cover the fundamentals of debating, structure, strategy, and delivery. And we will conclude with a Q&A session with our distinguished guest, where you will get the chance to ask questions and gain further perspective on the skills that makes a great debater. Now, without further ado, it is my honor to introduce our guest speaker, Advocate Akshaja Singh, who will share their valuable insights with us. Please join me in welcoming them with a warm round of applause.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I must admit that is quite a kind introduction, much kinder than I would have given myself, but that covers the basics. I'm a lawyer. I practice before the Supreme Court under an ASG, which is an additional Solicitor General. Beyond that, I practice corporate law privately on transactions and several other ancillary matters. The agenda, however, why I'm here is, again, firstly, I like to specify I was far from being academically excellent, but the fact that I'm here is proof that if you debate well enough, colleges will bring you to other colleges. So the essential, what I understand, you are all first years and second years. Is there anyone over that here apart from the society members? All right. So when you're fresh and starting out at law school, you honestly don't really have an idea of whether you want to be a lawyer, and when you do, you don't know what kind of law you want to practice. Debating personally for me was a large part of that journey, right from my first year to my final year. Back in school, I participated in over 40, 45 MUNs. And beyond that, when I went to college, I started debating right out. And over the course, I've participated over 100 debates, British parliamentary, Asian parliamentary, conventional, overall, having won about 20 of them. Now, I don't know if I'm the most qualified person to be here to be guiding you on this topic, but I will try. This is one of my first workshops coming out as not as a convener of a debating society, but as a lawyer participating with law students, which is why I'm hoping that we have a fun Q&A round. Beyond that, if you are planning on being either taking naps or using your mobile phones during this workshop, please be rest assured that there will be points in time where I will ask you randomly to get up and participate. This has to be, at the end of the day, debating workshop is going to be participative. That is my idea, but I think we can start. Basics. Firstly, what and why? My idea, or rather the way I think about why I feel debating is important, or what is debating. Debating goes to the very crux of who you are as a person. See, René Descartes very aptly put it, I think, therefore I am. This is a Latin maxim which essentially goes cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Now, if you really analyze this or really look forward or really look into it, you have to realize that beyond feelings, beyond a fact, how you think about it and how you rationalize it and how you defend it is actually the basic human experience. Having an idea isn't enough. Knowing how to defend it is a very essential part of the idea process or how the thought works. So when you say what is debating, debating is to have an idea or to have an opinion and have the gall or the audacity to defend it in a manner which suits you as such. And secondly, if you ask me why debating, to be a more rounded person. When you go out into the world and you realize you have this tag which is attached to you constantly, which whether it may be advocate, counsel, lawyer, people always expect you to say things out of thin air and then defend them out of the blue. This will be your experience at parties, at social circles, at family gatherings, and you need to be prepared for that. Because a lawyer a lawyer can make outrageous statements, and there are many lawyers out there, but there are very few who can make an outrageous statement and defend it, and those are the successful ones. There are different formats to debating. There are conventional debates where you have a for speaker and you have an against speaker, you have a motion to talk about. Then you have parliamentary debates which take that idea and complicate it worse than the Indian Parliament does by adding Asian parliamentary and British parliamentary debates. The Asian parliamentary debates essentially outline how the general function and flow of a debate works at a parliament or a senate of that sort. A motion is introduced. In Asian parliamentary debates, you have two sides. You have the government side and you have the opposition side. First, the Prime Minister comes out, gives you a general outline of what the motion is and how he plans on defending it, after which the Leader of Opposition comes and gives his rebuttal. Followed by the second round, which is where the Deputy Prime Minister comes, makes his rebuttals and his submissions, followed by the Deputy Leader of Opposition. Lastly, the Government Whip and the Opposition Whip follow, wherein they summarize and conclude. Similarly, on the British parliamentary side, you have four teams competing on two sides. You have the opening teams and the closing teams on the government and the opposition side. First, the Prime Minister comes and makes a statement. The Leader of Opposition defends it. Then the Deputy Prime Minister comes to make a statement. Then the Deputy Leader of Opposition defends it. Following which the other two teams. First, the government member makes a statement, following which the member of the opposition party makes a statement. Then you come back to the government whip, who sums it all for you and then gives you a conclusion. On the other side is the opposition whip. Now, why I'm referring to these formats at all is because they essentially teach you how to create or set up an argument. While most parliamentary debates give you the privilege of 7 minutes of speaking time across 3 speakers, coming out to a total 21 minutes to set up a case, defend it and conclude it for everybody to hear. That is not the case for most debates, and definitely not the case when you practice law. Most of your first appearances are going to go on for about 30 seconds, and you're going to be judged critically for about 25 seconds of them. Which is where I think the last heading comes into point, which is special reference, debating for lawyers, or in this case, law students. Anyone here who has a good idea of what they want to do after law school ends, you can raise your hands. Someone with a general idea of what they want to do with their law degree, what they want to do once they're being called lawyers. I can pick you out. If you're not raising your hand, I will ask you. People who have no idea what they're here for. Sir, front row, middle seat. To your right, to your left. Yes, you can. Why litigation? All right. Anybody else? You can sit back down. Anybody else who wants to do litigation?
Learn about and read about international law, to be very specific. Further, I will do PhD. That is something I'm very clear about. Nothing to do that I will be an academician or something else. It's just I want to do PhD. That's it.
My mother wishes I had this enthusiasm to study every day, but that's great. Congratulations. Anybody who plans on practicing, I will go beyond the first floor. Trust me, I will. Sir in the black jacket, the Man United jacket. Do you have a plan on what you have to do after college? Why? Okay. What kind of law do you want to practice? Okay, you can sit back down. All of these things you wish to do, whether it be pursue a PhD, whether it be getting someone access to justice, or defend someone who's accused of a crime, which more or less in some cases might be the same thing, you have to have the ability to say something and defend it. The crux of every engagement, every interaction you have for the rest of your life after you're done with law school is, यार ये बातें तो बड़ी बड़ी करता है, can he defend it? Can he, justify what he's trying to say? Which is why whether you go into litigation, you go into in-house, you go into corporate, you go into something academic, the moment you write something down and don't refer to 20 sources of how you defend it, you're in the water. Which is why debating is a tool to make yourself better, both in terms of how you talk to people, how persuasive you are as a speaker, how good you are as a researcher. All of this comes into debating, and honestly, if you become a good enough debater, you will also become a great mooter, better than most mooters who have never touched a debate competition. Which comes to our next slide. While the slide shifts, I'll just tell you what it is. Research and preparation. Could I just come downstairs and do this? Thank you. Okay, this is much better and much more normal to what I'm used to doing when I'm at these events. Let's come to the next slide, research and prep. Yeah, general knowledge, current affairs. Before that, actually, let's see how much debating you guys have done. Someone here who's done debates? Not in the debating society, that would be a little obvious, sir. You've done debates? Tell me about them. You guys have an extra. What's your name?
Hello, sir. I'm Arya.
Okay. What kind of debates have you done?
Other than Model United Nations, I've done British parliamentary debates.
Okay. What did you learn from BPDs?
Things essentially. Number one being that the very formulation of arguments, right? And number two, I believe that how important articulation is, because a lot of time we know the things that we are defending, but just because we cannot articulate it well, it does not translate the same to the other person.
Again, workshop, that is articulation, which we cover in our last slide, which is much later, but you can sit back down. And
So same as well, I have done model UN conferences. Other than that, I have participated in school debates, both conventional debates, PDs, APD, BPD, both turncoat debates, etc.
what did you learn from them?
Yeah, one essential thing. Okay, so I learned two things. One essential thing is that the same goes with articulation, and the backing of your argument should be there logically and substantially. The second thing is that if you're best in your class, you are in the wrong class, because I won all the debates in my school. When I did my first college debate, I got destroyed. So it's totally understandable that there might be very, very more superior people who have a great articulation skills than you, and you will meet them when you go to different types of debates.
That's a recurring life experience. Trust me, it doesn't end after college. But people who haven't done, now I'm assuming if you didn't raise your hand, you haven't done a debate. Correct? Now I'm going to start pointing at people and start asking them why. So you can raise your hand and tell me why before I do that. Yes, sir, please. being brief, being concise, coming to the point in the most legible manner possible. Now, again, rephrasing my last question, if you haven't done debates, can you raise your hand? यार have done debates पे कोई नहीं हाथ उठा रहा था, haven't पे भी कोई नहीं हाथ उठा रहा है. We have a problem of subsides, guys. You haven't done debates.
Yes, sir.
Why?
कभी करवाई नहीं, पता ही नहीं था, कभी बताया नहीं किसी ने होती है. एक क्लैट का पता था, वो करके इधर आए और इन्हीं से सुनते हैं. डिबेट्स भी हुई हैं, हमें पता ही नहीं था कभी, तो करी.
Okay, that is a internal problem that we will all discuss later, guys. But any other reason? Okay, you can sit back down and you can now try stand for the rest of the workshop again. Okay, from one of my experiences, when I was a convener, we faced a lot of issue when new people came to the college and they just didn't want to. ठीक है यार, होगा क्या करना है, रूम में बैठ सकते हैं, अटेंडेंस मिल जाती है मुफ्त की, कर लेंगे. Free attendance is how we essentially got people to start doing debates, and then over time they started liking it. But what actually came as the kicker was that you people your age you feel very passionately about some very random things, and we take those things and we channel that into comments on Twitter, on Instagram, and it's not like your generation as a conscience doesn't debate. तुम लोग उसी passion से mess में भी चीजों पे लड़ते हो. इंस्टाग्राम स्टोरीज पे सबने छोटे छोटे डिबेट पॉइंट्स डाले हैं. Whenever there is a international conflict, you guys have a point. LinkedIn posts are filled up with different topics. So you as a general age group have the conscience to debate. But what I'm trying to understand is what is your hurdle in coming to a formal structure and doing it. And for that, I think, who's the person who's done BPDs? You've done British parliamentary debates, na? So we'll come to research and prep. And let me break it down for you how simple this is. Do you remember any motions from that top debate?
Like we have universal basic income, for example.
Okay, what was the motion? Can you set it up?
Yeah, so the motion was that this house presents that there should be a universal basic income for everyone. Now, what universal basic income is that the government
Okay,
itself.
No, not speaking yet.
All right.
Sit. We'll come back to you later. But what she said was the motion. This house believes that universal basic income has to be provided to everybody. Now, as the Prime Minister, as the opening speaker, I will come up and define what I mean. Now, anybody here who wants to set up the first speech for such a debate? Sir, pink tie-dye jacket. Yeah, you're looking left and right. You. No one else in a pink tie-dye jacket. If you were the Prime Minister, you would be proposing this motion, which means you have to defend it. How would you start to defend it? Abhi tak the House only knows the one line. This House believes that universal basic income should be provided to everybody.
Sir, as India is like...
No. This House, you don't know what is the House, you don't know who are these people. Start from the very basics, crux of it. You're the Prime Minister, you have the power to define all of this stuff.
So that's the base point of debate. You must have knowledge of the debate prior.
What is universal basic income? Everybody gets a fixed amount of money in their pocket.
Yes, sir, that is defined.
Okay.
But in like you said, we don't know what this house is.
You also have to understand your adjudicator does not either. The adjudicator also only has this house. So you can come and say that I am the Prime Minister of India and suddenly this house is the Indian Parliament. I've defined it. But I wouldn't do that. If I had to defend this motion, I would defend it from a much richer country's point of view. I would say this is the Parliament of America, because America has already done this before.
Yep.
Then I can defend it on a policy point. Correct? Again, specific knowledge. This is general knowledge. This is current affairs. How I know this is because America gave out $1,200 during the pandemic and did that on multiple occasions to citizens who were in need. And I honestly only know that because of memes about it. Again, information comes from everywhere, but knowing this, now you can start.
So to defend it, we'll give basic facts about it, that it'll provide a better lifestyle better life to people who are actually like suffering from poverty, etc., etc.
Okay, basic, you can sit down. Ma'am, now is your chance. You are the leader of opposition. He's come and said that this house believes that universal income has to be provided to everybody. And that is his terms. We are America. We can give it to everybody because they need it really, really badly right now. And there are people who are poor. Now you defend it.
हिंदी में बोल दो।
हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल बिल्कुल जबरदस्त।
सबको मेरे हिसाब से इक्वल इनकम नहीं होनी चाहिए। अगर इक्वल इनकम
इनकम सबको कुछ ना कुछ मिलना चाहिए। बेसिक सर्वाइवल के लिए उनको कुछ मिलना चाहिए इज व्हाट ही इज सेइंग। यू हैव टू डिफेंड इट ऑन द अदर साइड। क्यों नहीं मिलना चाहिए?
ये बात तो सही है।
बात ऐसी बहुत सही होती है बट करना पड़ता है।
पर बेसिक सर्वाइवल तो सबको मिलना ही चाहिए ना।
हाँ बट आप चूज नहीं कर सकते ना आप डिबेट के किस तरफ हो। एनीबडी एल्स वांट्स टू ट्राई? In fact, you can pick who's the next person who will have to try. Nishta, we all heard your name. Let's go. Come on, someone wants to play devil's advocate.
सर बेसिक तो सबको ही मिलना चाहिए।
Okay, let me be the leader of opposition and I do. You want? Both of you will get a chance. अच्छा वहां पे भी एक है, पहले इनका खेल लेते हैं फिर आपके पास आएंगे पक्का।
So basically, the universal basic income implies that each and every country will have a certain set amount of income that every person should get. But it is not feasible because, first of all, there are also the economic status. Each and every country is not equally, they will not be able to afford it, first of all. Secondly, the value of money. So what essentially the value of $100 in the US is, does not mean that the same would be the value for example, a country like India or Nigeria. So it basically depends, like the same value can be a very huge amount, and also I feel like the levels of inflation can also be proven to be a huge point because in every country they will vary, so that will
concise. You can wrap it up. Let's sit down. She brings up a very nice point. How will you pay? There are so many countries, everyone has different rates, which is where the Prime Minister's first mistake comes in the debate. When he got up, he should have prescribed a model. The best way to defeat anybody's case is to show that you can achieve the exact same objectives with just your means and not their means, which is what she's done. She's come and created problems with your model of how you want to impart this universal basic income. Correct? You've not done it in a structured manner? Anybody who wants to, people who felt very strongly कि सबको तो थोड़ा मिलना ही चाहिए. Ma'am, please. Nishta ma'am. सबको तो बेसिक मिलना चाहिए, आप डिफेंड कीजिए। तुमने बोला कि बेसिकली अगर हम सबको पैसे देने लगेंगे, कौन डिसाइड करता है कितने पैसे देने, कौन डिसाइड करता है कौन से देश में कितने पैसे मिलने हैं? किसी एरिया में $100 की वैल्यू ज्यादा है, किसी एरिया में बहुत कम है। पावर परचेजिंग डिफर्स। हाउ डू यू एग्जीक्यूट दिस? हाउ डू यू रिमूव दीज प्रॉब्लम्स विद योर केस? आपने बोला मिलनी तो चाहिए, कैसे कैसे दिलवाएं?
Sorry, no idea.
You can sit back down, no worries.
So the government of the country would be knowing the economics of the country, and according to that, the inflation rates and
Situation first speaker is the Prime Minister.
Okay.
It's the Deputy Prime Minister side.
Okay, so the Prime Minister knows the country and the inflation rates and the purchasing power, and based on that, we can create a model and help the people get the amount that would be beneficial. Base income could be given to people to help them, people who are unemployed to get a better living. All of those could be done.
You can sit back down. Okay. We'll shift to the other side now. That was Deputy Prime Minister. Yeah.
Providing universal basic income might kill the drive for innovation. People might stop working hard, and in the long run, this might hinder human development.
Great point. deputy leader. You guys came. The PM's house had some criticisms, but now the final two speakers come. We are in a nation parliamentary debate format. We're not doing BPD because that's a lot of people and a lot of time's going to be used up for that. But the government whip and the opposition whip, whip's job is to come here and tell me what I've already been told from each side and why your side wins. I feel you're excited to do this bit. Which side do you want to do it? Government whip. So the government whip now, the whip is just a fancy British word people use for someone who can quite literally use a whip and generate support for anything in parliament. Back in the United States Senate, you quite literally used a whip to get people to come to your faction, which is why you've called the government whip. Now his entire role is to summarize the debate for his side, the other side, and tell me why his side won.
The reason why the government feels that universal basic income is a necessity and why it totally defeats the opposition points is that when they gave us the argument that it would make people lazy and make them feel that there would be human development, we need to understand that when it comes to monetary benefits, it's a never-ending desire. A person earning a certain amount of money and government providing them certain amount of money will eventually add up, getting them into more materialistic desire. Whereas a person who is not even able to subsidize his basic needs, getting certain subsidization from our side in terms of income will be able to enforce.
First, you're making a rebuttal. I want you to tell me what the PM said, what the DPM said. What is the government's case in the summary, in a nutshell?
The government's case totally rests on the thing that universal basic income will eventually impact people's life into them getting a head start for the growth, and hence it won't make them lazy but rather make them work more hard to eventually earn more, and eventually the basic model of universal basic income be able to subsidize that no person will sleep without eating, or no person will live without any basic repercussions with this.
Done? You can sit back down. Anybody on the side of the opposition? Someone who can do opposition whip? Please come.
Speaking from the opposition, we believe that when a person has a constant flow of income coming to his bank, this will create an atmosphere of person having some amount of money and not making innovation, as mentioned by not having an innovative mindset and creating something new, because he's already getting a constant amount in his bank for all the months that is working for. So that kills innovation, as mentioned by the Vice President.
I love how most economics centered debates just come down to socialism versus capitalism. And how communism kills progress.
I think at the end, it's all interconnected, and whenever there is a social change that has to take place, economics comes in play. So I think socialism, yes, that's it.
Technically, she proves our point right that every social change requires an economical head start to happen. So eventually, universal basic income.
This word likes at debates. No one likes taking these little out of context tones. Okay, we'll stick to proper classic debating. Okay. Anything else you want to say?
No.
All right, you can sit back down. Was that fun? Even in the remotest possible sense, was that fun? You can say it just so that I'm happy. Thank you. That was so fun. That is essentially how a debate progresses. And now that you've seen this process, you've seen what your batchmates have said, I'll tell you how they've gone and said these things, which is why we're at research and prep. First things first, general knowledge. The idea about innovation, that is a criticism which was created for socialism long back. सबके जेब में पैसा होगा तो कोई काम नहीं करना चाहेगा. No one wants to create something new because he's already getting paid to do nothing or what he's already doing. So no one inherently believes to do better. This is an age-old argument against various communist models that emerged in the 90s and the 70s, way back to Italy, Russia, and even though a large part of this criticism is also drawn from the German parliamentary debates right before the First Reich came in through Hitler's rule. But moving beyond, this was something general. When you come to law school and you read different histories, how communism came to be, how capitalist models and hegemonies in power. In fact, there's a chapter in class 12th political science, which is all about hegemonies in power. I remember very clearly because I studied this chapter for my 12th grade exam when I learned the word hegemony for the first time. So again, specific knowledge and general knowledge are very different things. And these are little general tidbits that you as a person should know. So that when you go out in the world and you can actually at least do some small talk with people. Small talk is very beneficial when you want to network or just maintain relationships. Beyond that, specific knowledge. Someone here knew specifically that power purchasing authority differs from people in, let's say, America who have $100 versus an Indian who has $100 in his pocket. Very important point to make. Other than that, the side of the president, the side of the government essentially came and played a humanitarian cause, which is different. I would have started as the Prime Minister, since I have this specific knowledge that America has done this before, they have gone out and given money to everybody, I would have said the house. This is the house, is America. We are going to go and do what we've already done, and we've done without much criticism and actually been praised for. That essentially eases the load on the government side and increases it on the opposition side. On the opposition side, I would have come and questioned one major problem with this idea of universal basic income. Universal basic income means you provide an X amount of money to an X amount of people every year. X amount of money will go up, X amount of people will go up. Thereby, you have an increasing expenditure, but you have at the same time not created any way where you are getting that money back from. You have no increasing earning. What does that mean? When you don't earn as much as you spend. And you can't call that at the end of the month and you have 2,000 rupees though. This is a deficit. And we have problems with their model that the opposition should have come and done. But again, research and specific knowledge. Most debates, you don't know the motion going into the debate, and most debates after the first 2 years, you are very relaxed about kisko phone pe pad lenge. But where do you read from? My approach to any research topic is there are 4 things you have to do. In law, also this is going to help you. Whether this is for a moot or a research paper or an internship or for a debate, the first thing you do is whatever the proposition is, type it out word for word in Google and hit send. Best case scenario, this has been debated before and you will find all the debate speeches, but that is not ethical. Worst case scenario, you will find all keywords that are associated with this topic. What are the buzzwords? What are people talking about? Google is where every little bit of information, your first set of information always has to come from Googling the best sources. Enter it into Google, see what you find. Beyond that, you then move to these keywords you found. On the basis of these keywords, you start navigating to editorials. Don't go to the news just yet. Go to editorials, go to research journals, figure out what is already being talked about, and then you come to the current affairs of that topic, which is you just switch a tab, you go into Google News and search those keywords again and see what are the current ideas around this topic. And now at this point also, you don't know which side you're going to be debating this from. So then again, you just need to have information. Debating is not knowing which side is right or which side is wrong. Debating is just knowing, or at the very least, is making your opponents feel that you know. And then lastly, preparing a complete speech. This is a topic that I was a little hesitant on putting into this slide for 2 reasons. Firstly, everyone has a way of doing it their own self. And secondly, the way I do it very rarely makes sense to people. People who have ever given a speech, not even a debate speech, some sort of speech. Someone who's participated in a school election, MUNs, extempore, people who have not spoken already. No one's ever given a speech here before. Fine, I hate repeating speakers, guys, just by the way. There were 15-minute Q&A sessions and I feel like I'm going to be asking the questions, and I will, relentlessly. But yes, go on.
So I took part in the youth parliament and I was a part of citizens dialogue. There I gave a speech, opening speech for the section.
And how did you go about making the speech?
ChatGPT.
I keep forgetting that's a thing. Wow.
So it was like the basic idea that I got. It was a 2-day parliament. So first day I analyzed how things are working, and then I narrowed down my speech, and then I went to ChatGPT to get further ideas, and then I made my speech.
Very, very nice. But yeah, in my research, somewhere where you guys know this better, you can also plug in ChatGPT. I believe their sources are a lot more verified now, but always and always verify ChatGPT sources. Moving beyond, coming back to how to write a speech, with lesser help than I had imagined I would have had. How do I write a debate speech? Is I will take the motion. Yes, please. Depths of members.
Participated in various speech competitions while back in school. So, if talking about how I used to write my speech, I used to go through many websites or maybe sometimes books, and I used to collect the data, like the things which I like. I used to incorporate in my speech, and then I used to like form a pattern the way I have to speak that speech. So that is how I used to write my speeches.
Okay. Again, speeches are very different from debating. Speeches are just persuasive talking and engaging talking. But for that, we can come to our next slide now. I'm very proud of this slide and this table that I've made, just by the way. If you can see on your screens, can someone read out the column on the left in the first table? Yes. Yes. You can stand up. You can keep sitting. You can stay sitting. Yes. Yes.
The left side of
Left side.
a third reason. All of those. A third reason, apply, conclude.
What does assert mean?
I would like some help.
What's your name?
My name's Zase.
That's an assertion.
Assertion.
Got it?
Okay.
Next person on your left. What's the next word after assert?
What do I have to read?
The next word after assert.
Reason.
What do you mean by reason? Very basically, वजह क्या होती है?
वजह ही होती है और क्या होता है?
Why are you at NLU? DBRANLU.
Because I cleared CLAT.
That's a reason. The reason is essentially the means of why certain ends exist. Got it? Person to your left again. Pass the mic.
Apply.
What does apply mean? In this case, apply assertion to reason.
Use of assert your opinion or point or the whatever the topic you are given for that purpose.
Okay. And the person left again.
The next was its conclude.
What does it mean to conclude?
Something that assertion has assertion, reasoning, and application, and to conclude, sum up all these things in one line.
Perfect. You can sit back down. Now, I have broken this up. This is one argument, 4 sentences. Very basic. Assert, reason, apply, and conclude. My first assumption is that Delhi has become inhospitable. Inhospitable means you can't live there anymore. So that is bad. My reason for that is that because Delhi has severe levels of air pollution. That is my reason. Delhi has become inhospitable because Delhi has severe levels of air pollution. Now I apply my assertion to my reason, which is when I say that I can't live in Delhi. Delhi has become inhospitable because levels of pollution are severe. And thus I draw a conclusion that Delhi is indeed inhospitable. Do you all get that? Very basic. Cool? Moving beyond debates, if you have to create an argument on the law side, how we generally go by it is when, and again, at a very basic level, I'm only talking about rules and not facts and precedents and all of that which may come into the mix. Issue, rule, application, and conclusion. Issue is a word you guys have heard a lot in law school. People talk about issues and judgments. People talk about issues and topics. Have you? Has anyone here read a judgment? Fully? End to end? Which judgment? What was the issue?
The main issue revolves around, I don't know, but it is something related to a specific relief.
It's you remember quite enough. It was a specific relief point under the Sale of Goods Act, which I also don't remember clearly, to be very honest. But again, when you read the judgment, the issue before the court is always framed. What is up for debate? Dikkat kya hai bhai? Essentially that. Then there is a rule. You apply that rule to that issue. That is the third part, which is the application, and then you conclude. Now I've broken this down as I will do it in matters. I can do this illustratively, but first let's do it with the issue, rule, application, conclusion, and then we'll look at it further. First, the issue. Do you have the access to right to equality? Where do you get that? What's your authority on that point? मैंने लिख दिया तो आसान है ना? But Article 14, does it say any person or does it say citizen? Again, rule बताना important नहीं, rule में emphasis apply करना है. What part of the rule you rely on? So the rule is that Article 14 provides the state shall not deny any person the right to equality. And my question is, am I or do I have access to that right? Now, because of me applying that rule to that issue, I can come to an application which is that with effect from Article 14, the state cannot deny me the right to equality, thus creating a conclusion that I have access to the right to equality. Let's recreate this. Someone can come here and propose an issue. I can propose an issue which you guys I think will be very invigorated by. Okay, the issue is, college administration is right here. So I think issue. So do you want to frame an issue? नहीं सर, कॉलेज को अभी हम इग्नोर करते हैं, लॉ पे आते हैं. Sir, I have something in mind otherwise, then बताओ. मैं बताऊं? चलो, let me frame an issue. Let the issue be that can a minor enter into a contract? Contract law first year में सबने पढ़ लिया होगा ना? Can a minor enter into a contract? Rule क्या है? कौन बताएगा? Ma'am, please. We know you're very smart. Yes, please. अभी नहीं. No DebSoc participants. Contract. What rule says that a minor can't enter into a contract? ये मेरे को पिछले साल पता चला. It's okay. Yes, please.
Minor cannot enter into a contract because minor is not competent for entering into a contract.
Yes. Yes. Add numbers to that answer.
Sir, minor cannot enter into a contract because under Section 10 of Indian Contract Act, there are mentioned 5 essential, under which one essential is that the party should be competent to make the contract, and the minor is not competent.
अच्छा है, मैंने किसी से पूछ लिया, मैं सेक्शन का नंबर गलत बताने वाला था. But yeah, thanks for that. That is the rule. The rule is that Section 10 of the Indian Contract Act says that minor cannot enter into any contract provided trustee agreements are exempted from that. Trusteeship agreements are exempted from that rule, which is where minors can enter into contract. So the issue was, can a minor enter into a contract? The rule was that a minor cannot enter into a contract. And the rule is that you, who are a minor, cannot enter into a contract, and then you draw a conclusion. This is what will prevail for most of your moots, and ARAC, which is assert, reason, apply, and conclude, is what will prevail for most of your debates. Now, let's do the same thing. If we have the time, yes, we have the time. Someone create an assertion, and we'll do this really fast. One assertion. Guys, one assertion. Or do I point? I see you guys laughing at the back. Sky blue hoodie. Yes. Assertion. Sir, one assertion for the house.
Minor can enter into.
Read on that.
No, no. So assertion means a first argument, right?
Assertion is what is essentially what are you trying to say? What is your first argument?
If I am in for or against whatsoever.
Yeah. What are you asserting?
A contract can be a minor can be a party to the contract if it's for the necessity of his livelihood, his or her livelihood.
That's not the assertion. The assertion is that a minor can be in a contract. Okay, that's the assertion. He automatically created the rule and applied it, which was if it is for his benefit of his livelihood, and the application therein was delivered. But he's done this enough times. I think मैं पूरा ही procedure. You, ma'am. Yes. Sound front. Yes.
Me?
Yeah. डर क्यों जाते हो यार बोलने के लिए? Create an assertion. कुछ बोलो, कोई तथ्य.
Sir, you are doing a very fun session. That indeed is.
As flattering as that is, we still need to conclude the session, which is why I need an assertion. भाई जितना जल्दी जल्दी हम करेंगे उतना जल्दी सब वापस अपने हॉस्टल रूम से जाएंगे.
Rights of the women. Sorry, not the rights of the women. The women are not treated as equally as that of the men.
Okay, put that down. Any ladies would like to listen to that? Anybody else would like to create a reason for that? Yeah, she's your batchmate. Come on, let's go. Some solidarity. You, ma'am. Yes. Guys, we found a speaker.
The reason as of women are not treated equally as men would be, can be given as women are seen less, like women aren't as equal as men. They are only seen as like more of a sexual being rather than.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else wants to add more reasons? Okay. Yes. Okay, agreed. Next. चिल्ला के बोलो यार भाई किस
Women mostly looking for the role of household workers or makers only. Thus, man used to hold a major power in the house, both economical and social. And yes, in conclusion, there are social, cultural complexities that play a major role in differences between man and woman.
Before you answer, please know there will be no acts.
Okay, so just a few words. Presence of patriarchal society.
And in this statement, the conversation this is basically state a reason, take this is by sorry, reasons होगी अब application करना.
The application we see that based on safety concerns.
And he said some actually gave us a great how
says, someone that he says ATR, someone that also said I think it was school. So that's clear that we have a another and then an application to that to do that, I mean, the way we will either the application all where the government is, right? As evidence, and therefore we can if I were taken right of the mirror next effectively. Lastly, effectively, clarity, waste, and body language. Again, she does mean that we go, we go pay to and go. So, one piece of it, right, I thinking, and I will go. Then one, right? So, even while that's going to be your lead, you have to do anything the same or your ticket to that the state are going to be really possible. That is the first thing that is a fact, and I'm going to learn that even at the time is going to further these teachers will have to class grammar, things are there. These are all the experiences that you will have. For music, when before bench or before touch right, before these factors, and it's required they are well. That in your case, you are the prime minister of the hour. And that is the